the Japan's oldest doctor. You can't really change your genetics, but it turns out that what you do every morning can triple your risk of having a stroke after 60. We'll also cover the first signs of a stroke because according to statistics, half of all people who have a stroke don't even make it to the hospital alive. And if you recognize these first signs, you could save your own life or the life of somebody you love. As the world's leading expert in longevity and aging, I've dedicated my entire career to studying the habits and lifestyles of the world's oldest and healthiest people so that we can all live longer, healthier lives. That's why it's so important to learn about these 3 things that you should never do in the morning if you want to reduce your risk of stroke. So keep watching. Number 1, never skip breakfast. This is a very interesting topic because a few years ago, there was this big debate online between doctors and nutritionists. Some were saying that breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and others were saying that skipping breakfast is the best way to lose weight. But it turns out that the truth is somewhere in between. In fact, when you look at studies that compare people with different eating habits, such as those who skip breakfast, those who eat a light breakfast, and those who eat a heavy breakfast, it turns out that the group who eats the lightest breakfast has the highest risk of cardiovascular disease and stroke. This might be because when you skip breakfast, you go for a long period of time without eating, and then you come home and you eat a really large meal. It's called a circadian misalignment, and it messes up your metabolism and causes insulin resistance. Insulin resistance is when your cells no longer respond to insulin, which causes your blood sugar levels to rise. And over time, this can lead to diabetes and heart disease. And even though we're talking about a specific type of heart disease known as a stroke, keep in mind that a lot of these risk factors also increase your risk for other types of heart disease as well. And if you stick around until the end of this video, I'll talk more about how you can improve your insulin sensitivity and reduce your risk of all types of heart disease. But for now, let's get back to the top 3 things that you should never do in the morning if you do not want to have a stroke. Number 2, never eat sugary foods in the morning. I'm sure you've seen those videos online of people who wake up early in the morning and start their day with a giant bowl of sugary cereal with milk. And even though this might taste good at the moment, studies show that eating sugary foods in the morning can triple your risk of stroke. In fact, there's something called the glycemic index, and this measures how quickly a certain food can raise your blood sugar levels. For example, white bread has a high glycemic index, whereas whole grain bread has a low glycemic index. And what happens is, when you eat a high glycemic index food, it causes a spike in your blood sugar levels, which leads to insulin resistance, which raises triglycerides, which damages your arteries and increases your risk of stroke. And it gets even worse than that, because when you eat high glycemic index foods, they cause inflammation throughout your entire body, which can damage your brain. And believe it or not, research shows that eating lots of sugary foods in the morning can make you hungrier later in the day and cause you to overeat, which can lead to weight gain and obesity. And being overweight increases your risk of stroke by 2 times. Now, if you're concerned about whether or not you're eating too many sugary foods, here are some of the worst offenders. And you'll definitely want to avoid eating these in the morning. Cornflakes, waffles, pancakes, sodas, juice drinks, bagels, muffins, donuts, toast with jam, honey, or syrup, and sweet rolls. Instead, you'll want to eat complex carbohydrates like whole grains and legumes, which have a low glycemic index and will not raise your blood sugar levels. And if you're enjoying this video so far, be sure to stay tuned, because the last thing you'll never want to do in the morning if you want to prevent a stroke is even worse than the first 2. 3. Never drink alcohol in the morning. According to statistics, 14% of all adults over the age of 65 have had a stroke, and it's the 5th leading cause of death in the United States. In fact, every year, more than 800,000 people in the U.S. suffer from a stroke, and stroke is also the leading cause of disability in America. And just like the other risk factors we've covered, drinking alcohol in the morning greatly increases your risk of having a stroke. Now, in general, it's recommended that men have no more than 2 alcoholic drinks per day, and women have no more than 1 drink per day. However, drinking even 1 drink in the morning can raise your blood pressure, which can lead to a stroke. And according to research, drinking alcohol in the morning increases your risk of stroke by 35%. But that's not all. Drinking alcohol in the morning is also linked to depression and anxiety, which can make you feel sad and hopeless and negatively impact your quality of life. It can also affect your sleep and reduce the amount of REM sleep, which can leave you feeling tired and fatigued the next day. And it can also decrease testosterone and lower your sex drive. And if you're struggling with alcohol addiction, please reach out to a trusted medical professional today. They can help you find resources and treatment options that work. What to do instead? Now that you know the 3 things you should never do in the morning if you don't want to have a stroke, let's cover exactly what you can do instead. First, you always want to eat a healthy breakfast. A healthy breakfast is a balanced mix of protein, complex carbohydrates, and healthy fats. Here are some great options: oatmeal with berries and nuts, whole grain toast with avocado, Greek yogurt with fruit and chia seeds, scrambled eggs with vegetables and seeds, smoked salmon with whole grain toast and sliced cucumbers, or even leftovers from dinner the night before. Second, you always want to avoid sugary foods and drinks in the morning. As we discussed earlier, sugary foods and drinks can raise your blood sugar levels, which can lead to insulin resistance, weight gain, and increase your risk of stroke. So always read the nutrition label and check the sugar content before consuming any food or drink. Third, you should never drink alcohol in the morning. Drinking alcohol in the morning can raise your blood pressure, which can lead to a stroke. It can also cause depression, anxiety, erectile dysfunction, and sleep problems. Instead, you can drink decaffeinated coffee or tea. Fourth, you should exercise regularly. Exercise is one of the best things you can do for your health. It can help you maintain a healthy weight, lower blood pressure, improve cholesterol levels, reduce stress, and boost your mood. Aim for at least 30 minutes of moderate-intensity exercise most days of the week. Fifth, you should stop smoking. Smoking is a major risk factor for stroke. It damages your arteries, raises your blood pressure, and lowers the amount of oxygen in your blood. If you smoke, please reach out to a medical professional today. There are many resources available to help you quit. And finally, you should see your doctor for regular checkups. It's important to see your doctor for regular checkups so that they can monitor your health and catch any potential problems early. Make sure to get your blood pressure checked, your cholesterol levels checked, and your blood sugar levels checked. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out this video on 10 foods that can lower your blood pressure naturally. I'll see you in the next video.